Hey, Andy, how many times can you ride Gemini in one day?
Well, past precedent says about 100. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Beat the Beast, where news races the beast. I'm, of course, Andy Robarczyk from Chicago, Illinois, joined once again by Dwayne Sponseller from Parkersburg, West Virginia. Each and every week, we look at the news and trending social media topics and give our opinions of them, all before the beast hits the final brake run. And today, our overarching topic is coasting for kids. Yes, a few weeks ago, we had the opportunity, and a bunch of enthusiasts from around the country had the opportunity to participate in the annual Cedar Fair fundraiser benefiting Give Kids the World Village down in Orlando, Florida. And Coasting for Kids, like I said, is a event that crosses all the Cedar Fair parks and is just such an awesome experience. So we're going to break it down into 4 different topics this week. And as always, we're going to race the beast. So if we can put that 4-minute and 10-second timer on the clock, and there we go. So our first topic is actually what Coasting for Kids is all about. Now, Give Kids the World Village is the group that benefits from this, and Give Kids the World Village is kind of like a Make-A-Wish Foundation organization that if there is a terminally ill child or a very sick child, they can get the opportunity to go down to the Give Kids the World Village that's down in Kissimmee, down right outside of Orlando, right in the middle of all the great theme parks down there. And free of charge, they can spend with their families the whole week or whatever time period at the village. And also through either Give Kids the World or through other organizations, they also can get theme park tickets. So basically, what this village is, it's the hotel accommodations, but it's not just a hotel. It's an experience all of its own as well. That there are theme park rides on the property there. That there's a merry-go-round. They have new flat rides that are accessible for children in wheelchairs. The big event that they like to promote all the time is having ice cream for breakfast. That basically it's a free for all. There's no rules. Trying to get rid of all the worries in these people's lives, and trying to make an experience for these kids that they'll never forget. Dwayne, what do you think about the organization?
Well, what a great, charity for enthusiasts like ourselves to get involved in, because we take for granted every day that we're able to go out and travel to these parks and ride these coasters and ride these awesome flat rides. And there are many of these, children and even adults who might have a terminal illness who would love to do things like this, but their bodies just don't want to allow them to do it. Or maybe they will, but they just don't have the means to do it because of the medical bill prices. And so a place like Give Kids the World, an organization who goes above and beyond to do that. And then you've got the people out there now who are enthusiasts who are going to these events and raising the money and the funds to go to these events. And I think that's what it's all about. Yeah, we get the chance to ride a lot of the coasters for a long period of time, like Gemini, for example, you mentioned 100 times at the beginning of the show. But that's not what it's about. It's about the money that you make that goes to that program to be able to do that. And so, yeah, you get to have a lot of fun. But while you're on the coaster, we're really remembering what you're doing for the kids down there in Florida is what it's all about. And again, I've never really had the chance to do it myself. It's always at a bad weekend for me. But I was able to do it at Holiday World this year and give my money to that cause in a different fashion away from the Cedar Fair parks. So it's really going beyond Cedar Fair. Now, a lot of other places are starting to pick up on this as well, and so it's got to be something that's always going to be there, and it's just getting bigger and bigger every year, which is obviously a good thing for the industry.
And one of the most important things about Give Kids the World Village is it's a very highly rated fund, not-for-profit organization as well, that it has one of the highest percentages of money donated going right to people. That a lot of times you get these huge organizations that, raise money for whatever cause. And what happens is a lot of that money is diverted to the administration, to advertising, to places that people aren't being affected by that money. But here at Give Kids the World, really it's one of the best top-rated not-for-profits because so much of that money goes right back to the people that you donate. So you can sleep easy knowing that your money is actually impacting people's lives. And there you have the sound of the beast. And we have run out of time on that topic. But let's move on to the next topic. So if we could once again put the clock up on the screen. And the next topic is, I've done coasting for kids at a variety of different parks. That this is now my 5th year participating. That the first 2 years I was at Cedar Point. The 3rd year I was at Worlds of Fun. The 4th year I went back to Cedar Point. That was during the great water main break of 2014. It was that weekend. They actually had to cancel coasting for kids at Cedar Point. They offered for people to go down to Kings Island for the Sunday and ride down there. I couldn't do that because we had other stuff planned already. But then the weekend after, they brought us back to Cedar Point to actually coast for kids again at Cedar Point. And then this year, I had the opportunity to go up to the Great White North and go to Canada's Wonderland to participate in coasting for kids up there. And let me say first that every single one of the events I've been to has been a really awesome experience. And I think one of the biggest the coasters are nice, being able to marathon coasters. But one of the coolest things about coasting for kids is all the new people that you get to meet. That every single year, I'm sitting on Gemini for 5-6 hours. There's not much to do. You can only count the board so many times. But talking to other people and getting to know them and getting to know, what they've been on, what places they've been to, why they're fundraising. That's really one of the most fun aspects of coasting for kids is the camaraderie of it. At Worlds of Fun, that's where I really got to become pretty good friends with Paul Drayback from negativeg.com. That we talked for a very long time because you have so much time together on these rides. There's nothing to do but talk. So you talk to people, you get to know people. I met a ton of good people at Gemini last year, especially Don, who's a member of Coaster Crew. We talked forever there, and I've had the opportunity now, and you run into these people again. So recently you just saw Paul on our episode of Uncut from Holiday World. I got to meet and talk to Don again at Coaster Mania this year. So it's you form these friendships now that you get to talk to one another, you get to know one another. The whole community becomes closer for it. And I think that's one of the coolest aspects of it. At Cedar Point, like I said at the opening of this show, I rode Gemini a few times, a few events, well over 100 times in a day. So that is indeed a marathon. I challenge anybody to sit on Gemini for 100 times. This year, I got the opportunity to ride Behemoth at Canada's Wonderland. The Canada's Wonderland event was so out of this world amazing. It was so much fun. Just not from the perspective of the coasters themselves, where I think having a block of time of like 5 hours on Behemoth and then having even just a half an hour on Leviathan at the end of the night, that is an awesome lineup of coasters. So if you want some fun, Canada's Wonderland has one of the best lineups. I also really enjoyed Worlds of Fun. They took you for 2-hour blocks on each of their 3 big coasters of Mamba, Prowler, and Patriot. So you got a 2-hour block there. And then Cedar Point just recently changed it up a little bit, but it used to be 2 hours on Magnum and then 5 hours on Gemini from 10 to 5. Actually, that's longer than 5 hours. This year they've added in a few more coasters onto the list. But really, it's just a really cool event, and it's cool to be able to sit on the coaster, and you really get to know that coaster pretty well. You get to know the good and the bad. But really, it's an event that just cannot be missed. And there you have the Beast again. So not doing too well today on this one. Now, our next topic is... Oh, man, what was our next topic again, Dwayne? I forgot already.
You're going to discuss this year's event.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So let's start that clock again. I know it's a lot of me talking, so there we have the time. So once again, this year was at Canada's Wonderland, and like I said before, Behemoth and Leviathan was so much fun to do. But the other thing that was pretty cool about it was the food options were so good as well that we got, Dwayne, you might like this, we got not one, but 2 buffets served to us for Coasting for Kids. 2 buffets, not just one, 2 buffets. It was out of this world. The breakfast was amazing. The eggs were cooked to perfection. We had bacon. That might have been Canadian bacon. I don't know.
I figured ham, right?
There's a little Canadian bacon, but they also had regular bacon as well. And the regular bacon was cooked to perfection. But I think the highlight of the Canada's Wonderland food choices was they had some pastries. Now, there's a little bit of a French influence up there in Canada, and the French are known for their pastries. And man, they had some strudels and they had some muffins that were just to die for. Oh my God, they were so good. And then the lunch was just good as well. They had a watermelon salad, something I've never seen before, where they cut up watermelon and mixed it in with some different greens and some onions and put some Italian dressing, like a house dressing over it, and it was just so good. I just can't speak highly enough of the Canada's Wonderland event. And for as far away as it is, I'm seriously considering maybe going back there next year for Coasting for Kids as well, because I enjoyed myself that much up there at Canada. I met a lot of good people, like I said before. I got to talk to a lot of good people. So it was a lot of fun from that respect. Any thoughts, Dwayne? Any questions about the events?
Well, like I said, I've never been on one. So kind of take us through what it's like in regards to when you're riding. Do you ride nonstop? Do you take breaks? Especially if you're on a coaster for 3 or 4 hours, what's the general idea or general schedule of how things work in regards to actually riding the coaster?
Well, it changes from park to park, where Cedar Fair has a policy of that every 2 rides you have to get off. So it works differently at every park. Like at Cedar Point, it's really easy. Gemini has 2 trains. They shut down the blue side for the whole day, so you have both trains on Gemini for the whole day. So every 2 rides, you just get off, go to the exit, and then you get back onto the next train when it comes into the station. So it's a really fluid system. At Canada, it was a little bit different because we were on Behemoth all day long. There's 3 trains on Behemoth. 1 train was set aside for the Coasting for Kids event. So basically every 2 rides you had to get off and go to the exit, and then you had to wait for the first train to come in, for the second train to come in, and then you could jump back on to the 3rd train. So it just works different at every event. it's kind of a new policy too. The 2 rides back in the day when this event first started, you could sit on Gemini all day long. And then I guess the lawyers got involved at some point and started complaining, well, there's too much risk involved. Hey, I sat on Gemini over 100 times in one day. I'm still living. People say I might be a little crazy. I don't know if it's because I sat on Gemini. Who knows? I think people will be fine. It's kind of one of those things of know your own limits. And I've never had a problem marathoning rides if you pick the right rides. So I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with the 2 ride policy, and there you have it. So our last topic, if we could put that clock back up there once again. Our last topic is actually how you can get involved. Now, Dwayne, you had mentioned how you got involved with Coasting for Kids, so maybe you want to talk a little bit about that event and how you did it.
Yeah, so sometimes it's not just the event itself. For the first time this year, of course, we had the Thunderbird Media Day preview down at Holiday World in Indiana, and they decided that there was so much interest in people wanting to go to that Media Day preview that if you weren't actually considered media, they were also going to allow the first 50 people the first 100 people who could donate a specific amount of money to Give Kids the World, then they would be able to go to that Media Day preview. I went ahead and was able to do that, so I actually did do my cause this year of giving the money to Give Kids the World. I just did it in a different fashion than Andy. And so if you really look out there, if you look on the internet, if you're not interested in maybe going to Coasting for Kids, there are all kinds of opportunities for you to actually be involved in this great process. And Andy's going to tell you a little bit more about how to get involved with us and through the COASTER-net site for next year. But also, I just want to make sure you understand there are all kinds of ways to get involved. And all we ask you to do is to think about it. Think about every day that you are able to go to a park. There's 1, 2, 5, 10, 50 kids who would love to be able to experience that as well. And you are able to do that. If you're able to go to the park, if you're able to spend money on a season pass, then you're able to give some money right back to the cause to allow someone who isn't able to do that. And I think there's nothing better than to see the smile on a child's face when he can actually forget about his illness for maybe just a 3-minute ride, but maybe a whole day at a park. Just think about the smiles that you would see on a kid's face after that. So get involved however you possibly can, but definitely give to this great and worthy nonprofit cause, Give Kids the World. Now, Andy will tell you how you can get involved next year through COASTER-net and for Coasting for Kids.
Now, for Coasting for Kids, we set up teams. This year we had a team at Canada's Wonderland. It was me, my sister, and her boyfriend. So we had our team up in Canada. But we are willing to set up teams at any of the parks for this event. So if you want to get involved, and you don't have to join the COASTER-net team either. Just doing it on your own is worthy of a goal enough. So if you want to join the COASTER-net team, we can set up a team at any of the parks. Like I said, the only park that has a different date, it's always the first Sunday in June. And the only park that has a different date is usually Valley Fair. That's the weekend after that. I'll post a link to another blog here as well, but one of our members actually went down to the village to volunteer one year. And he talked about his experiences there. He has some pretty good pictures from the village and what types of things he experienced when he was there as well. That's another option too. That Coasting for Kids is a great event, great fundraising event monetarily, but there's other ways that you can give back as well, and volunteering at the village is one of those ways. Now, there are restrictions of time and requirements of that kind of thing. But if you have the opportunity to go down to Florida to volunteer some of your time, that's a great option as well. But like I said, the more people that get involved in this, the better it is for everyone. That Coasting for Kids is one of the greatest events during the year. for myself, that I actually had more fun at Coasting for Kids than I did at a lot of the other events that I've gone to this year, just because it's so special that there's a meaning behind it as well. If you sign up anywhere, if there's a Cedar Fair park by you, also if there's not even a Cedar Fair park by you, keep your ear to the ground, because a lot of other parks like we saw with Halloween World are doing things as well. With Give Kids the World Village. I know there's a lot of worthy causes out there in the world. I know that there's a lot of people and groups that need money. But as coaster enthusiasts, I like to donate to this because it's sharing my passion and my love of roller coasters and theme parks with kids that might not have that opportunity to do those things. So it's kind of like bringing my two worlds together and trying to help kids out in that way. Any final thoughts from you, Dwayne, here this evening?
No, I tell you what, the one other thing that you can we kind of neglected to mention, a lot of the times, especially at Cedar Fair parks, when a new ride is opening up, they do ride auctions, and that typically goes to Give Kids the World as well. So that's just another opportunity that there is on the table for you, to be a chance to be the first rider in the first train of a new coaster, for example, or a new ride opening up. A lot of times, it's not just Cedar Fair parks, there are other parks out there that do it as well. But like I said, be looking forward to that. I know it's another year away in regards to Coasting for Kids, but we'll continue to have information on COASTER-net.com about this throughout the coming year. And, of course, we'll talk more about it on both COASTER-net Uncut and here at Beat the Beast as well. So, again, enjoy the rest of your summer out there for everybody who's going out to the parks. I know we're kind of halfway through, and it's going to be haunt season before you know it, Mr. Rabarczyk.
Oh, man. I can't wait. As always, thank you for joining us here tonight. I am, of course, Andrew Rabarczyk from Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm Dwayne Sponseller from Parkersburg, West Virginia. And as always, may the Q lines be ever in your favor.
Right on, right, Warriors.